Hey everyone, I hope you're able to hear me. So if somebody's not able to hear me, just put something in the chat in the question section. If I'm audible, just some of you can type an audible so that I can proceed with the section. Yeah. Okay, I got an answer. So let's start. So this is going to be a very straightforward section, guys. So in this session, what we'll be looking into is we'll be looking into what is an EC2 instance, because that is one of the most basic in AWS itself. So to start off learning AWS, you'll first have to understand EC2, because EC2 is one of the most integral concepts of AWS, and EC2 is behind a lot of other services which is used in AWS. So there is Beanstalk, which is a platform as a service application, even that uses EC2. So we'll be looking into that. So first of all, let's look into what is AWS. So I'll just give a brief introduction to AWS. Most of you might know this, but it is pretty useful to just start off with a basic introduction. So Amazon Web Services is a cloud provider which provides its users a wide range of services via internet. So right here, internet is called cloud. So basically what they call cloud is basically the internet. So you send a file or you store a file in the cloud. So basically it is stored somewhere in a data center which is owned by that company, for example Amazon. So you store it in their data center. So that is what is called the cloud. So you're not storing it in your system, it's not taking off any storage from you. You're virtually using a storage from another company or a proprietor. So you are storing it over there, and whenever you need it, you can access it through the internet. Sorry. Okay. So Amazon Web Services is the most leading cloud provider in the world. Then next comes Azure, Microsoft Azure. After that comes Google Cloud Provider. So these three are the top cloud services in the world right now. So first comes Amazon Web Services in terms with the public market share which they own in the public cloud industry. Okay, so I think you would have got a sample idea about this. So just a minute, guys. Just hold on for a minute, guys. Just once again. Okay, so I left it over here where I was giving an explanation about Amazon Web Services. So again, to brief it out, Amazon Web Services is a cloud provider and it's the world's largest cloud provider, and they provide services over the via the cloud. So basically, they provide services over the internet which you can take up and use for yourself. For example, EC2 is one of the service. Then there is S3. Then there is RDS. So guys, we understood what is Amazon Web Services. Let's look into EC2. So first, let's understand what exactly is EC2, and let's move on. Then I'll show you how to create an EC2 instance. So first of all, Elastic Compute Cloud is the abbreviation. So Elastic Compute Cloud, the word elastic itself shows you that you can have scalability in this particular compute capacity. So EC2 provides both elasticity and compute together. So they've named it as Elastic Compute Cloud. So you might ask, what exactly is the purpose of EC2? So let me explain to you that. First of all, EC2 is to create servers over the internet or in the Amazon Web Services. So basically what you can do is you can create a user account in Amazon or AWS. Once you create that, you can go into the servers EC2 and you can launch any server which you want. For example, if you want a Linux server, you can launch that. If you want an Ubuntu Linux server, you can launch that. Or if you want a Windows server, again, you can launch that through the internet, and you will be able to access it remotely through SSH connections or through remote connections. That is, you will be able to use another person's computer. So basically here it is not another person, it is another data center in which your machine is hosted. So you will be able to access your machine which is hosted in a data center, but you don't need to worry about where it is hosted, how it is hosted and all. You just have to worry about how to access it and what you're going to do with it. So I'll be showing you how to launch and how to work with it in this session. So please stay tuned. So you can see this image over here. There are users, there is EC2, and there is servers and databases. So basically, in your PC, right now you might be watching this in a smartphone or in your PC. So if it is in your PC, even you can access AWS through mobile. So, but it's better to use your PC. So if you're in your PC, you can directly go over and create an AWS account right now, and you can take out EC2 and you can just launch up servers and you can install databases or web servers or anything you want in that. So basically, whatever you can do in your own PC, you can do the exact same thing in an EC2 server. So, okay, so we've seen the basics here. Next, meaning of elasticity. So I talked about Elastic Compute Cloud. So basically, EC2 provides you servers via cloud, that is servers over cloud. But how does it provide elasticity or scalability? For example, you have a company and you have created an application. So this application will have huge spikes in traffic immediately. Let's say on a Monday morning, you might not have that much traffic. And suddenly on a Friday night, you get a lot of traffic. For example, let's take Zomato. You own Zomato. And the morning of, let's say Monday morning, and you don't get any traffic, like 100 users are buying food. And suddenly in a Friday night, there are 2,000 users buying. So in Monday morning, you will not need that much of compute capacity as you need on a Friday night. So what you can do with EC2 is you can set that up accordingly. For example, on Monday morning, if the traffic is less, EC2 will automatically understand that you don't need a lot of servers and it will only give you the minimum number of servers. And when your user traffic is continuously increasing, EC2 will automatically increase the number of servers which you need. Also, if you do not need, for example, on a Friday night, it is peaked. Suddenly in midnight, it'll obviously start to reduce. So once it is reducing, EC2 will also reduce the number of servers which you own. So this basically makes it scalable as well as your cost is reduced. If you're using EC2, it is very cost optimized for you because you only pay for the services which you are using right now. For example, if you're using 2 servers for 1 hour, you'll only pay for those 2 servers. And in the next hour, there are 10 servers running because EC2, it detected a spike in traffic. There are 10 servers running for 1 hour. So you'll be charged for those 10 servers just for that 1 hour. And once the traffic is decreasing and the number of servers decrease, you will not be charged for the 10 servers. You'll be charged only for the number of servers currently running. So that is the biggest advantage. So why is this an advantage? Because if you have an on-premise setup where, let's say, you have 10 servers, obviously all the 10 servers are going to be there. You will not be able to sell them back. All the servers will be there, and if only 2 servers are running at that particular time, other 8 servers are sitting idle, but still you are paying for electricity and the maintenance of those servers. But using AWS EC2, you don't need to do that, because you will be just running the number of servers you need at any point of time. So there is no need for running extra number of servers or even lesser number of servers, so that your application will be available at all times and it will not crash. Okay, so we saw what is EC2, how it works. Let's just brief around. So what are the regions, why it will be highly available. So I told you that if you host let's say you're hosting a website or using EC2, using the EC2 server, once you host that website, it's not required that you can only host it in the same place where you are. For example, if you're in India, it's not just that you can host it for India. That is, you can host the website on a server which is running in the Mumbai data center. And it's not just that. You can sit in India and you can spin up a server in US and you can run your website over there also. So this gives you the ability to move your website or your application globally, as well as your application will be available all the time around the globe. So if you're having an on-premise setup, that is not possible, because you will have to set up all across the globe, and also you'll have to hire maintenance professionals, security professionals, and so that will so you'll have to invest a lot of capital, and that is very it takes a lot of time. Instead, you can just take up AWS and you can just launch up servers, and then you're good to go. So that's simple. Okay, we've seen this. Next, regions are geographic locations where AWS data centers reside following our AWS region names and its divisions. So basically, you can see these regions, right? The blue ones and the orange ones. So these are regions where there is AWS data centers available. So over here, you can see US East, and so this is US East. So over here, you can see US East, North Virginia, and Ohio. So there are 2 regions in US East itself. So there are 2 different data centers in US East itself. In US West, again, there are 2 different data centers. So like that, there will be multiple data centers across the same region. So that will increase the availability as well. And you can see here, contains 6 data centers or availability zones. For example, in North Virginia, in just North Virginia, there will be 6 different divisions of data centers available. That is, you can host your application in one availability zone, or you can host your application in 2 or all of the availability zones as well. So basically, this means so in one particular region, there are multiple data centers, even if your application is so let me give you an example again. So there are 6 availability zones in North Virginia. For example, you're hosting your application in 1A and 1B. So suddenly there is an outage in the area of 1A, and that entire data center goes down, but your application will still be running because you also have a setup in 1B. So this is, for example, disaster. You can use this for disaster recovery also, or also for fault tolerance. So basically, even if the data center 1A goes down, your application will still be running in the data center 1B. Same thing if your application is huge and you have enough capital to run your application in multiple data centers, you can run in 1A, 1B, 1C, and 1D. And even if one of the data center or multiple data centers goes down, your application will still be online. How to choose which data center is best for my application? So there is no particular there are no prerequisites, or there are no conditions to choose data center. It is basically, you will have to research. So in few data centers, few services might not be available. So at the starting, they only had data centers in the US, and then they grew. So few services which work in the US data centers might not work in the data centers which are available in India. So you'll have to see so let's say you are using around 10 services in AWS, and if all those 10 services are available in a particular data center, you can go for it wherever it is. Or if you want more, for example, if you are hosting your application in India, Then you can just go for the data center or the region, which is Mumbai. You don't need to host your application in any other data center across the globe. Or if you want to take your application global, that is your wish. But the only thing which you'll have to look into is that whether your service which you'll be using in AWS is available in that particular data center, and you can check that out by going to the official documentations and going around and checking what are the services which are available in that particular data center. Okay. Next, EC2 instance types. I'll just brush this out because at the beginning it's really hard to grasp, but still you'll get a little bit of knowledge about this. So first, there is general purpose. So general purpose, you can use it for anything: to host a static website, to host a blog, to just store, let's say, to store images, or to have a database server, or a web server, or an email server. So you can set up anything you want. Then there is memory optimized. So basically, memory optimized in the sense you can choose servers which has a lot of RAM in it. Storage optimized, there you can take up servers which have a lot of storage capacity and can handle a lot of storage. Accelerated computing is basically these servers will be useful if you're having an application which often suddenly goes high in traffic and suddenly reduces in traffic. So this particular type of servers will understand will be able to handle that amount of traffic. So let's say it suddenly increases, it will be able to handle that at that particular instant. And when it decreases again, it will be able to handle that. Compute optimized, again, these are few other types of services. So this is basically compute in the sense it provides you a lot of compute capacity. That is, you'll be able to process a lot. For example, if you're running multiple programs and scripts, you can do that in the compute optimized instance types. So there is one more question. How is EC2 different from a virtual machine? It's not at all different. EC2 is a virtual machine hosted in an AWS data center. So EC2 itself is a virtual machine hosted in an AWS data center, which you will be given access to. That's it. It is nothing more than that. You will not be, for example, it's not that a physical system will be there somewhere and that the entire physical system is provided to you for remote access. No, that's not the case. They'll have huge physical servers in which smaller virtual machines are hosted, and that virtual machine is given to you through remote connection, and that is EC2. So it's not different from a virtual machine. A virtual machine, if you create it locally, then yeah, that is different from EC2 because you're using it in your local system. And if you're using EC2, that means you're just accessing a virtual machine in another server through internet or through so basically through internet. That's it. You're doing remote access to that. Okay. So okay guys, so I've given you a brief of what is AWS and what is EC2. Let's just look into how to create an instance, how to launch an instance. Good. Another question: what is the difference between accelerated computing and compute optimized? So that's what accelerated computing in the sense. So whenever there is a hike in traffic, for example, you're running. So right now this application has 100 users, and suddenly in the next second or the minute, your application's users go to 20,000, and so therefore a server should be able to run according to that. So that is, it should be able to handle 100 users and also 20,000 users at the same time. So if that is the case, then you can go for accelerated computing. Or if you want to process a lot of data, or if you want to process, or if you want to run web servers in your system, basically compute optimized is not for sudden spikes in traffic. It is more of a consistent usage, but it can process a lot of data or process it's basically used for processing. I'll also show you the different types of data I'll also show you the different instance types while launching an instance right now. So let me open the AWS management console. So this is how it will look once you create your AWS instance. So here you can see the recently visited services. Here you can search a service which you want. Coming down, you can see there are tutorials: launch a virtual machine, 2 to 3 minutes, build a web application, build using virtual servers. So it is mostly self-explanatory. You can just look into these and start off with it. And there are so many other tutorials for various types of services. You can look into that? Okay, so now let's just look into our topic, which is EC2. So you can either search here for EC2, or if you just, sorry, you can just search here for EC2, or you can just click here and you'll get all the options. So I'll just open the EC2 dashboard. Okay, so this is how the dashboard looks right now. So right now it will show you the running instances. It will show you the dedicated hosts, elastic IPs. So we'll not go into much depth for these other things. So security groups and all we can look into in a VPC session. So here I'll be showing you completely about EC2, how to create it, and what are the configurations which is needed to create EC2. So basically running in EC2 also requires a volume. So that also we'll be seeing while creating an instance. So this is the dashboard for EC2. It will show you all the details which you need in this particular region. So you can see I'm using North Virginia region. And here you can change the region which you want to work in. So you can see here, there is Ohio, which is again US East. Coming down, there is Asia Pacific, Pacific. There is Mumbai over here. You can choose one. Every time I log in with, I have to create a new instance unless I have one that is dedicated. No, that's not the case. So you can stop the instance. There is no need to buy a dedicated instance. You can launch an on-demand instance, which is under free tier eligible criteria as well. But the problem is you'll have to assign it an elastic IP address. So there's an option for that. If you don't, it's not a problem. Every time you reboot your instance, the public IP address will be changed. That other than that, there are no problems. Your instance will still be available. You don't need to buy a dedicated server for that. Cape Town and Bahrain are showing under available regions. Are they completely live? I guess so, because let's just check that. So the problem is newly launched availability zones or regions will not have all this. I think there is a problem. So this region is not eligible for my account as well. Yeah, so I think it's still not available for all the users. So this is basically a free trial account. So once the free tier is ended, you can go ahead and buy a developer account as well if you are developing using AWS. Otherwise, a free tier account is more than enough. How much does a server cost of schools? My voice is splitting, so I'll just come closer. I did not understand the question, which is how much does a server cost of schools? I'll explain key pairs while launching an instance. So, Soundararajan Francis, I think your question is how much will a server cost if I launch one using an AWS account? So, first of all, there is a free tier eligibility using AWS. So there is a particular instance type, which I'll show you right now, which is completely free for 750 hours every month. Okay, so now let's get into the demo, guys. Let's just launch an instance. So first of all, you can just click here and click on launch instance in the EC2 dashboard itself. And once you do that, you'll be taken to a page called AMI. So AMI, or you can just remember it as, let's say, an operating system. So coming down, I'll show you one thing. So there is Ubuntu here. So if you're installing an Ubuntu operating system for your PC, then you will need the OSI file, right? Or you will need for example, you will have a bootable pen drive in which you have the server, or in which you have the operating system available. Or for Windows, you might have a CD, or again, a bootable pen drive, which you insert in your PC and install the particular software. Okay, so like that, AMI, also called as Amazon Mission Images. So you can see here Windows Server. So AMI, also called as Amazon Mission Image, is basically for example, a print of an operating system. So let's say if you want to launch an Ubuntu system, you will have to choose an Ubuntu AMI. It's that simple. For example, over here, you can see Ubuntu Server 18.04 LTS, so the latest stable version like that. And this is the AMI ID. And if you want to use an Ubuntu server for, an Ubuntu operating system for your server, you can just select it over here. You can see there is SUSC Linux, there is Amazon Linux, there is Red Hat. You will have so many options and you can choose. Also, if you are going to practice, make sure your AMIs have this under them, that is free tier eligible. So if it is having a free tier eligible tag, then those servers will not cost you, those AMIs will not cost you. For example, there is a deep learning AMI, and if you choose this, you will be billed. So don't choose them. If you're practicing, go with free tier eligible AMI. I'm going to select Ubuntu. Okay, I have another question. Lost your voice. Okay. Are you guys able to hear me right now? I'll just say, are you guys able to hear me? Okay, so I'll just try to increase my voice also. Okay, got it. So right now I'm not speaking, so you would have not heard. Okay, got it. So 750 hours free for first 30 days or for 1 year? For 1 year. It's for 1 year. No need to increase voice, okay? It is Bhaktilata, so it's for 1 year. So 750 hours free. It's not for 30 days, it's for 1 year. So basically 750 hours will be, for example, if you launch a server which is running, for every month you will get 750 hours free, not for the whole year. So 750 into 12 would be the number of hours you will get free for a complete year. Okay, so I've selected Ubuntu AMI. So here you can see the instance type, guys. So first of all, there is a T2 Nano, which has one virtual CPU and 0.5 GB of RAM. So virtual CPU is nothing but the compute capacity you will be getting. That is, in this, you will be getting a compute capacity of one virtual CPU. That is, it can handle that much amount. For example, you can see here the number of virtual CPUs for the instance. So the thing is, AWS has their own set of servers set up in a data center. So it will obviously virtually take up some of the resources over there and assign it to your instance. So that's what is provided over here. You can see T2.micro is the only free tier eligible instance type. So if you are practicing, go with T2.micro. Do not take up any other server. It'll bill, your account will get billed. So coming down, you can see there are a lot of general purpose instances. Still coming down. I don't have eligibility for few instances, and there is compute optimized. And here you can see few instances are having 144 GB of memory as well. Coming down, there are GPU instances. So for example, these can be used for heavy graphical processing. And then, yeah, so there are many instance types. You'll have to go through all of them if you want to know every single one. But for now, it's okay to start off with T2.micro because that is the only free tier eligible instance type. There is another question. Okay, so better than Azure free tier? Yes, it's better. And US credits like USD 200 we get for, no, you don't get any credits here. You only get a free tier limit. If you cross that limit, you will be billed. If you're within the limit, you won't be billed. For example, for EC2, it is 750 hours for per month. For S3, it is 5 GB of storage. So if you cross that limit, you will be billed. Otherwise, you won't get billed. What is EBS optimized? Okay, I'll answer that. Okay, I'll repeat step 1. Instance type costing. Yes. So if your instance has, so instance type costing policy differs. So basically, if you have one virtual CPU and 1 GB of memory, then it will be less. If you have one virtual CPU and 2 GB of memory, it will increase a little bit. So obviously, it will differ. What is EBS optimized? Okay, I'll tell that. I'll tell that and I'll repeat step 1. Okay, so a few instances, guys, will have an EBS optimized instance. That is, you will be able to increase the size a little bit extra using EBS. So these instances will have a specific set, but EBS optimized instances can connect with EBS and also will have a high, let's say a fast way of connecting as well as taking data from over there. So if it is not ABS optimized, basically what it means is you will not get a lot of throughput. So let's just look into this. Indicates whether the instance type supports ABS optimization, and ABS optimized instance provides additional dedicated throughput. So that's what I was explaining. So it gives you a lot of throughput. This provides improved performance for your Amazon ABS volumes and enables instances to use provisioned IOPS fully. So basically, EBS optimized in the sense it provides you dedicated throughput for your particular instances, which makes you to, for example, store anything or retrieve anything faster than a not optimized instance. Okay, step one. So basically, we are choosing an AMI. So to be very simple, choosing an AMI is choosing the operating system for your server. So, sorry. So you can choose any operating system you want. You can go with a Red Hat Linux. You can go with an Ubuntu server, which I chose right now. You can go with a Microsoft Windows server as well. So basically, Amazon Mission Image will, whichever AMI you choose, will be directly proportional to the operating system you get when your server is completely up and running. So that you will see. So right now I'm choosing Ubuntu server. So once I finish and launch an instance, you will be able to see a complete Ubuntu instance running and we'll be able to access that. Okay, so I'm going to choose free tier eligible. Next is configure instance details. So here you can give the number of instances you want. So basically, if I give one server will be launched. If I give 10 servers will be launched. So I'm not going to launch 10 servers right now. I'm just going to go with one. So I'll not be going to I'll not be going deep into, for example, VPC or subnets. Those are huge concepts again. So I'll just briefly explain what is a VPC. So it is virtual private cloud, and it is to create an isolation within your cloud profile itself. For example, if your instance is within your VPC, another AWS account cannot be able to enter your VPC and access your instances, or nobody else can. Only you can access that. So that's the basic definition, but there is a lot to it. So we'll not be going into that. We'll just concentrate on EC2 right now. So there is nothing else you'll have to change over here, guys. Just keep this to 1 and then go to storage. So here is what EBS is. So first of all, you will need a root volume to create an instance. That is, your server will need a volume. As I'm using Ubuntu, 8 GB is more than enough for me to run my instance. So you can also see free tier eligible customers can get up to 30 GB of EBS volumes. So basically, if you are using EC2, you get 750 hours for free every month. You also get 30 GB of EBS volume for free every month. Okay, is VPC unique for every instance or unique for AWS account? So it is unique. For example, you will get a default VPC which is unique for your AWS account. It's not unique for every instance. You can also create your own VPCs, a private VPC in which you can put in your own EC2 instances. So it is not unique for every instance. You can use the same VPC for multiple instances. Can we make size to 30 if it is free? Yes, we can make. There is no issue. But anyway, we'll not be using that. Anyway, I'll make it to 30. Okay, cool. So here you have a volume type. So a general purpose is more than enough. If you go with provisioned IOPS, you'll get an increased throughput. And then magnetic is standard storage. So I would not just use magnetic, just go with general purpose. And then you can see here throughput and delete on termination means, for example, if you delete your EC2 instance, it will also delete your EBS volume running in that particular, which is connected to your instance. If I uncheck this, if you delete your instance, your volume will still be available. But I don't want that. It's fine. I'll delete it on termination. Is 30 GB cumulative for all EC2 instances? Yes, it is cumulative. Everything in AWS is cumulative. For example, if you're running 3 servers, so the addition, if it comes more than 750 hours, then you'll get billed. So even if you run 10 servers, it should be below the 750 hour mark for a month. Okay, so I think I explained that. Okay, storage, root volume. So tags, again, it's not a very huge concept, which it is basically to give your instance a name and also to track. So let me just give a name and web server. It is a key value pair. For example, if you have hundreds of servers and in that you want to find a particular type of server, for example, you have, let's say you have 100 servers, and in that 5 servers are for web servers for hosting your website. So you have named them web servers. So you can just go ahead and search web server in your EC2 dashboard, and you will be able to find these particular servers. Okay, so I'm just going to give this name and web server. So my instance will also get this name. My volume also will get the same name. Next is security group. Again, I'll explain that. And I got a question. What is encryption while configuring the instance? Which encryption? I think the encryption over here, I think. So basically, guys, you will get a key over here. So it is called KMS, Key Management Service. So you can create encryption keys using KMS. You can either choose a default one, but right now you don't need encryption because you're not going to store any, let's say, sensitive data. If you're going to store that, you can just choose this. It'll add, so basically when your data goes in, it'll add a layer of protection. If it is coming out, it'll automatically decrypt and give you the data. So the thing is, you don't need to do anything extra over here. You'll just have to select this key and that you'll be set. That's it. But I don't need encryption right now. So the basic thing you'll have to remember is AMIs, choosing the instance type, number of instances, add storage, tags. Finally, security group. Security group is again one of the important concepts. So security group will be the main, so let's say it's the gateway in which what type of, for example, here you can see SSH 0.0.0.0/0. This basically means you can access this particular instance from any IP address which you want. If you have the right key, that is the right key pair, which for this particular instance, you can access this particular server from any PC which you want. So first of all, there is SSH, there is TCP, port number is 22. SSH basically is secure shell. You will be able to log into this EC2 instance using a secure shell. And then if you provide a particular IP address, so let's say you have a PC, you don't want to access your particular server from any other PC or any other computer. You just want to access it from your particular PC. You can provide the IP address over here, and only when you try to access your instance from that PC, only then you will be allowed to use that. Otherwise, you will not be given access. Okay, one more question. Haven't seen key pairs yet. Yeah, that is the last part of creating a server. I think I got a second. We also edit this inbound or add new rules. Yes, I'll show that as well. So basically, this is for SSH to log in. I'll add one more rule, which is for HTTP. I'll just show a basic web server running in my EC2 instance. So that would be the end of the session. I'll be showing a very basic web server running in our EC2 instance. So for that, you can allow HTTP type, which is the TCP protocol, port number 80. And again, you can just leave it at custom, because if you're trying to access this particular web page and if you're using the IP address and pasting the IP address in your browser, you'll be able to see the web page. We'll do that. So right now you'll be able to see key pairs. So once I click review and launch, here you get an dialog box. Sorry, I'll just cancel this. Just a second, got stuck. So launch. Okay, so here you can see there is choose an existing key pair, create a new key pair, and proceed without a key pair. So I already have a key pair. I can basically, if you already have a key pair, you can choose a key pair and then click launch instances. If you don't have a key pair, I'll show you how to create one. So click on create a new key pair, give the key pair a name. I'm going to give it as live session 1, and hit download keeper, and you'll get a .pem file. So this is the file you'll get, but you'll not be able to use this file to log into your instance from a Windows instance. Sorry, from a Windows PC. If you have a Linux PC, you can directly use the .pem file to SSH into your instance. If you have a Windows PC, you will not be able to do that. So to log in into your instance, you will have to use, if you're using putty, which is basically, so you can see here putty, you'll have to use this. You'll have to paste the public IP address of the instance over here and use the key. But the key should be of format .ppk, which is putty private key. So I'll be showing you how to convert this .pem file into a .ppk file as well. Okay, what is key pair? So key pair is basically you get one public key pair and a private key pair. For example, if you're launching an instance, that instance will have the public key pair inside of it, and you will be given the private key pair. So once you're logging into that instance, you will be giving that instance the private key, and if that private key is able to decrypt the public key which is residing in the instance, if it is successful, then you will be given access to use the instance. If you're using a wrong key pair, if you're using a wrong private key, then obviously it will not be able to decrypt the public key. Then you'll not be given access to the instance. So that's basically it, a public key, a private key. If the private key is able to decrypt the public key, then you can log in. I didn't get that pop-up. I think you would have got, I don't know. Is it like an SSL certificate? Kind of, but it's not actually a certificate. It's basically two keys. It's symmetric encryption. That's it. I tried a Red Hat instance, and okay, I think maybe you have some configuration errors. Try to fulfill every single thing, and once you give a launch, you'll obviously see a pop-up. If you don't see a pop-up, then there might be an issue in the browser, or sorry, not the internet or AWS itself. How to add .pem to the Mac terminal? So I think once you've downloaded your .pem file, you can use the SSH keyword. There's a keyword called SSH. You can use that, and you can give the .pem files address over there to log into your instance using the public IP. How will you convert the PEM file to PPK file? I'll be showing you that. Pop-up would be no, not that kind of a pop-up. It's basically just a dialog box. That's it. Yeah, maybe pop-up would be blocked. Just look into that. How to convert the PEM file? Okay, I'll show that now because that's what we'll be doing. Got it now. I had to click launch. Yeah, exactly. Okay, we've come here. The .pem file is available. So now once you install putty, so after you install putty, you will also get a puttygen software installed in your PC. So you'll have to open puttygen. You'll have to take this .pem file and load it over here. So I'm going to click on load. And here in, so basically here, just change it to all files, and you'll be able to see the .pem file. Open it. That's it. So it's that easy. So once you open your putty key generator, load your .pem file over here, and it will be available. Now you will have to save the private key. You can save it with any name. I'm going to save it with the same name, live session 1, and it will be saved in the format .ppk. And you've saved it, and that's it, guys. You've converted your .pem file into a .ppk file. Can you show that process again about key pair? Yes, I can show you. So basically, you'll have to. If I click launch right now, the piece, it will get launched. Okay, so basically, you can see here, create a new key pair and choose an existing key pair. So basically, right now I've already created a new key pair. So if you want to create a new key pair, choose this, give it a name, download the key pair, open puttygen, load the .pem file over here. So you will get a .pem file like this. Open that. Once you opened, it will be done. You'll just have to click on save. and give it a name and save it, and that's it. You will get your .ppk file. So right now, as we've already created one, I'm going to click on choose an existing private key, and I'm going to choose live session 1 and click on launch instances. Sorry, there is some already exists. Okay, one second, guys. I'll just select an existing security group. I'll just go with this. No. Okay, I'll just create a new one and I'll show you. So basically the thing is, somebody else, I think right now, have created a new security group with the name of this. So I'm just going to change the security group name to live session and let it be like that. And description, again, I'm going to just give live session, and both the rules are going to be the same. Again, I'm going to review and launch, choosing the same key pair, launch instances. And now you can see it's working. So the thing was, there was a name. So there was already a security group named launch wizard 50. Okay, so right now we've created the instances. We'll have to click on view instance and you'll be taken to the instance column. And over here, so you can see there are multiple instances running, and this is my instance. So in the tags, I've given name and web server, and you can see the name as web server over here, and the instance type is t2.micro. It is still in pending state. It is in the availability zone US East 1 because I did not select a particular availability zone. So it will launch in any one of the availability zone which is available in the region. So it is initializing. You can see it provided me a public IP address. It provided me a public DNS name. You can use the public IP address to log into your instance. So right now I'll just copy the public IP. And so this is currently running. So if the status is checked and it is 2 out of 2 checks, then you're good to go. You can log into your instance. Sometimes it will just delay. So it's better to try and log into your instance. If it logs in, then it's good. That's it. So I'll just click on Putty. And then the host name, provide your IP address, your instance's public IP address. Port number is 22 because that's what is for SSH, and that is what you allowed in the security group. Port number is 22, SSH, IP address. Then over here, you can see SSH. Click on SSH, expand SSH, and you will see an option called auth, which is basically authentication. Click on authentication. Here you can see an option for private key file for authentication. So right here, you'll have to browse and choose the private key for your instance. So you might have multiple private keys. You'll have to choose the correct private key which you have provided for the instance. For this instance, it is live session 1. So I'm choosing that. And if I click on open, if it gives you this security alert, then it means your server has been created and it is running. Just click on yes, and you will be given this. So right now you have launched a Ubuntu server and it is running over here. So I'll just make the, where is that? I'll just make the size bigger so that it's better visible. Yeah. Okay. So for Ubuntu, the username is Ubuntu. If you're using any other Linux server, for example, Red Hat, somebody was using Red Hat, for them, the username would be EC2 user to log in. So remember that it is EC2 user. So this would be the username. So now Ubuntu, hit enter. So now you can see authenticating with public key. Let me just go up. Authenticating with public key. So basically it is it used the private key to decrypt the public key. And if it is successful, you are inside your instance. So you've launched your instance, you are successfully inside. So I'll just use the clear command to just clear it off. Okay, now it is best practice every time you launch an instance, update your instance. So sudo apt-get update. Again, if it is a Linux server for example, a Red Hat or a CentOS or a SUSE, it is sudo yum and update. For Ubuntu, it is apt-get. So those are Linux commands. You'll have to look into those. I'll just give you the basic idea of it. So right now, guys, now it is pretty much the same as a Linux server. For example, you can open up a file. You can type in something, hello world, save it, and you can see you can do a cat. So it is basically a Ubuntu server which you have launched in AWS. Simple as that. Okay, now we have provided an access to port number 80 under HTTP. So that is for a web server which will be running up right now. It's pretty simple. Remember this command, it is sudo apt-get install. So this is the command for installing any software in Ubuntu server or in a Ubuntu GUI as well. So once you provide this, provide the software name Apache 2. If this is a Linux server, you'll have to use sudo yum. Instead of apt-get, it is yum, sudo yum install. It would be httpd in for a Linux server, but for Ubuntu server, it is Apache 2. So once I hit, you will get a pop-up, not a pop-up, basically a question. So just give Y and hit enter. So this basically will set up a lightweight web server for you in your Ubuntu instance. So let me just clear this. And right now I have launched a web server in my instance. So right now, if I paste this particular, so before that, I'll just paste the IP in the chat so that all of you can check whether the website is running. I have pasted the IP in the chat. I got a question. What is 2 out of 2 in statistics? Basically, it will check whether the instance is running. For example, it will send in a packet and it will check whether the packet is received by the other end and if the packet is back again to the sender. So it's a simple acknowledgement check. So that's it. It's just a simple status check whether the instance is running or not. If this fails, basically, then your instance will terminate automatically. That means your instance is not working. So right now, I've given you the IP. If I copy this IP and paste over here, you will be able to see an Ubuntu default page. So I have allowed HTTP. That's why you're able to see this page. Let's do one thing. Let me just go to the security group which I created. This is the security group I created. Let me just open this up. And you have inbound rules. So this is what we did, right? We gave SSH and HTTP. So I'm going to edit inbound rules. Let's just delete HTTP and save this. So done. Going back to instances. So now if I refresh, I should not be able to see this web page because this particular server does not allow port number 80 to access by the internet. And you can see it's loading a lot. Basically, it will give me an error page because it's not able to access. Or I'll just copy it, paste it. So basically, you're not getting any web server here. It will give you an error because I have not allowed HTTP. So it's that simple. Okay, I've got a question. What is? Yeah, I'll tell that. Okay, so that's a good question. What is? So that is basically the location where the index.html file is stored. It can be accessible if we do by custom custom TCP. Yes, if you allow all access to all TCP protocols, again, it will be possible. I've just given access to HTTP. So I'll just show you. Once again, I'll just change this. Then I'll show you what is the particular, so what is var/www/html/index.html. I'll do this quick. Inbound rules coming down. So custom TCP also you can give. So custom TCP in the sense every basically you can provide any port range you want, any IP you want, and basically it will allow. If you provide a range, you can also provide a range of port numbers, for example 0-1000, and it will allow all the port numbers within that range, or you can choose a particular protocol. Here I'm going to just choose this. Yeah, or you can just choose anywhere in the sense any IP address will be allowed, and save rules. That's it. So I just wanted to do this again so we can see the website. So again, you can see the website. Cool. Okay, so somebody asked about so CD. Okay, so the instance is behaving. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to create a duplicate session, which basically means I'm logging into the instance once again. I'll just close this. So we created a sample, not a sample, a simple web server called Apache 2. So the index.html file. So this is a HTML page, right? So the location, the location where this page is stored is /var/www/html, sorry. And here you can see an index.html page. So let me do one thing. Let me remove this index.html page and let me create again another index.html page and just type in hello world Ubuntu server and save this. So right now there is an index.html page in the same location, but it should not show this exact same page when I reload. When I reload, it should show hello world Ubuntu server. So basically, this is the location in which the Apache server's web page is stored. It can be an HTML page, it can be a PHP page. It will search for index.html. Okay, so what is key for users to know and be able to do with respect to EWS? By the way, I'm an organizational change management consultant and not a technical person. You did a fabulous job and clear. Okay, thank you. I will send you 2 tips next. Yeah, thank you. What is key for users to know? Okay, and be able to do with respect to EC2. So key for users, I guess for an user, you don't need to worry about anything what goes in the background. If your website is using EC2 in the background, so basically you can set it up accordingly that your website never goes down. So I think there's nothing much to learn for an end user, but if you're an AWS user, then the key points are choose the proper instance type. And so key pair is not a problem. You can create a key pair whichever you want. Choose the proper, for example, choose the proper, what is that? And the storage, choose the proper availability zone or region. Whichever region you want, you'll have to check into, and you'll have to start up a server over there. Okay. Can we create replica of an existing instance? Yeah, we can do that, but I'll just explain you. I'll not show you how to do that. I'll just explain you how to do that, because so we are ending. Sorry, we're coming to the end of this session. So basically, to do that, you can see there is a create template from instance, and there is an option called image. So what you can do, you can select your server and click on create image, and you can provide a name and create an image. This will create an AMI of this particular instance, and you can check that AMI in this particular location. Now you can select that AMI and launch. And for example, this instance already has a web server inside. So once you create a copy of this in an image and then launch a server using that image, that web server will already be inside. Our image is accessible across availability zones. It is accessible across availability zones, but only within the same region. You cannot use an AMI created in the North Virginia region in Ohio. So you'll have to copy the AMI to Ohio from North Virginia. Only then you'll be able to use. Okay, guys. So I think we've done most of it. Okay, 1 second. Okay. Okay, guys, so I think I've come to the end of the session. So please wait. There is a colleague who will be explaining more details about AWS and how you can get started off with AWS, how you can proceed with your career. If you have any questions regarding your career or questions regarding how you can take up the AWS certification exams, you can start off with it. So one person asks, how do you stop it? It's pretty simple. Just click on the server which you want to stop, go to actions, go to instance state, click on stop. Yes, stop, that's it. Okay, guys, I've covered most of it. So right now, my colleague will be starting the rest of the session. Thank you for attending this session. Meet you in another session. So please stay tuned for this session.
All right, guys. So I hope this session was useful to you. So now Anshuman will be joining in and he will be talking more about the course.